Welcome to the Velvet Verdict, honest conversations about how we drift apart and how we find our way back. I'm Velvet. Let's get into it. We are more linked than ever, yet we feel more isolated than before. Our phones promise connection, but often deliver something far stranger, a quiet kind of exhaustion. We scroll through lives that look perfect, and suddenly, our own feels heavy with something we can't quite name. It's not that we lack friends. It's not that we lack love. It's that the way we give and receive it has changed, and in the shift, something essential got left behind. This isn't a failure of character. It's a side effect of a world that moved so fast, we forgot how to slow down for the person right in front of us. We trade real presence for digital performance, and the cost is a deep, resonant fatigue. The antidote isn't to throw away our tools or pretend the world is back to how it was. That's impossible. The antidote is to find the quiet spaces where we can put the phone down and simply be human with another human being. It's about reclaiming the right to be known, not for an audience, but for someone who can hold your story without judgment. We are not broken. We are just tired of performing and desperate to be known. And that desire, that ache for something real, that is the compass. It points us straight to the healing. The antidote isn't found in a louder signal or a faster reply. It is found in the quiet confidence that you do not have to perform to be worthy of care. When we step away from the screen, we are not walking into a void. We are walking toward the one thing our devices can never give us, a witness who sees the real you, not the curated version. This shift changes everything. It means that the support we need doesn't come from broadcasting our lives to an audience, but from sharing the raw, unedited moments with the people who matter most. It is the difference between feeling connected because a notification lit up and feeling known because a friend sat with you in the silence. For the men and women watching, this is your invitation to lay down the burden of performance. You are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to be unsure. You are allowed to say, I don't have the answer, and have it met not with judgment, but with presence. The path forward is simple, yet it requires us to be brave enough to be human. It means reaching out not to fill a void, but to bridge a connection that already exists beneath the noise. It means choosing the risk of a real conversation over the safety of a perfect post. We are not broken. We are just tired of performing and desperate to be known. And that desire, that ache for something real, that is the compass. It points us straight to the healing. What the data shows, the paradox of connection, it is easy to assume that the glow of a screen has replaced the warmth of a hug. But the numbers tell a more surprising story. For the specific, everyday act of staying connected with friends, social media is actually a lifeline. A striking 74% of US teens say these platforms make them feel more connected to their friends. When asked directly about their friendships, the sentiment is even clearer. 30% say social media helps them, while only 7% say it hurts them. For another 43%, the impact is simply neutral, a tool that is neither savior nor villain. Yet, there is a quiet erosion happening in the background. While our digital threads hold our specific friendships tight, the broader safety net feels fraying. The share of teens who feel they have people to support them through tough times has dropped significantly, falling from 67% in 2022 to just 52% in 2024. This is the paradox. We are hyper-connected to the people we choose, yet increasingly isolated from the feeling of being universally supported. It suggests that the problem isn't the connection itself, but the context in which it lives. We have traded the broad, messy safety of community for the narrow, curated safety of our circles. The antidote isn't to smash our phones, but to recognize what they cannot give us. They can bridge the gap between two friends, but they cannot fill the void left by a missing village. The healing lies in using our digital tools to find our way back to the analog world, to move from the comment section to the living room, from the profile picture to the person behind it. We must reclaim the right to be supported not by an algorithm, but by a neighbor, a parent, or a friend who shows up in person. The screen can be the bridge, but the other side of it must be real life. What the data shows, the gender divide in experience. If the screen is a mirror, it reflects something different depending on who is looking into it. For many girls, the digital world feels less like a stage and more like a safety net. It is where they can find a tribe that understands the specific pressures of being a girl today. The numbers back this up. 57% of teen girls say social media makes them feel supported by their friends, a distinct majority compared to the 45% of teen boys who feel the same way. But that support comes with a heavy price tag, one that boys often do not have to pay quite the same way. For girls, the cost of connection is frequently measured in self-image and mental peace. A quarter of teen girls report that social media has actively hurt their mental health, a figure more than double the 14% reported by boys. The pressure is relentless. 34% of girls say these platforms make them feel worse about their own lives versus 20% of boys. This dynamic creates a unique kind of exhaustion for girls, a fatigue born from navigating a landscape where validation is both the currency and the trap. It is not surprising, then, that 45% of teen girls feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of drama unfolding online, a number significantly higher than the 34% of boys facing the same feeling. For boys, the digital realm often feels like a place of performance where the stakes are different and the tools for connection are less developed. For girls, it is a place of intense scrutiny where the very act of being seen can feel like being judged. Neither experiences a deficit, they are simply different responses to the same machine. The challenge for us as we move forward is not to fix one gender or the other, but to help everyone find a way to step off the screen and into a world where their worth is not up for a vote. We must help girls find support that doesn't require them to shrink, and help boys find connection that doesn't require them to perform. The antidote to this specific kind of digital fatigue is the same for both: the quiet, unjudged presence of a real person, right here, right now. What the data shows, the foundation of real friendship. The reassurance here is profound. Despite the noise of the digital age, the vast majority of teens still possess a close circle of friends they can actually turn to. This is not a story of total isolation. It is a story of a foundation that remains surprisingly solid. We see that among teens who have at least one close friend, 89% say they have at least one friend they can turn to for emotional support, while only 11% say they do not. The sheer scale of this safety net is evident. Roughly 2/3 of teens, 64%, say they have between 1 and 4 close friends, and only 2% say they have no close friends at all. There is a distinct difference in how boys and girls navigate this support. 95% of teen girls say they have a close friend they can go to for emotional support, compared with 85% of teen boys, where 16% report having no one to turn to. A majority of teens, 58%, say girls have an easier time than boys finding friends they can rely on for support, with only 7% saying the opposite. This gap is not a verdict of failure, but a map of where we need to direct our healing. The data shows that, while boys are statistically less likely to have that immediate, trusted outlet, the capacity for connection is there. The fact that 44% of teens have already cut back on social media suggests a collective recognition that real connection cannot be found in the feed. The antidote to this specific kind of digital fatigue is the same for both: the quiet, unjudged presence of a real person, right here, right now. We are not broken. We are just tired of performing and desperate to be known. The solution lies in stepping away from the screen to find the human who is listening. The data shows the cost of the device. But there is a tangible cost to this constant connection. For many, the device doesn't build bridges, it erodes the very social skills needed to cross them. When asked if smartphones make it easier to learn good social skills, the answer for many teens is a quiet no. In fact, 42% say it makes it harder, while only 30% believe it helps. The pressure to be always reachable, to curate a perfect feed, and to navigate digital conflict can leave young people feeling less equipped to handle the messy, unscripted reality of face-to-face conversation. This digital fatigue often manifests as a deep, physical longing for the offline world. Being disconnected from the device isn't just inconvenient. For nearly 2 out of 5 teens, it triggers real emotional distress. 39% say being without their smartphone makes them feel lonely, and 44% say it makes them feel anxious. It is a profound paradox. Tools designed to connect us are leaving many of us feeling isolated the moment the screen goes dark. The data also highlights a gender dimension to the struggle. Teen girls are significantly more likely than boys to feel they are spending too much time on their phones, with 44% agreeing compared to 33% of boys. Beyond the personal feeling of disconnection, the digital landscape carries its own specific dangers. Cyberbullying is not a myth, it is a widespread reality that follows teens home. Nearly half of all U.S. teens, 46%, report experiencing at least one of 6 common cyberbullying behaviors, and 28% have faced multiple types. The impact is uneven, with girls ages 15 to 17 being the most vulnerable group. 54% of them have experienced at least one form of online harassment, compared to 44% of boys in the same age range. These statistics paint a clear picture. The promise of the device is often delivered as a burden. We are not failing our children because we gave them tools. We are failing because we handed them weapons without teaching them how to use them. The path forward requires us to reclaim the space between the notifications, to find the quiet support of a real human presence that cannot be scrolled past, blocked, or bullied. The antidote to the anxiety at the screen is the unjudged presence of someone listening right here, right now. We are not broken. We are just tired of performing and desperate to be known. The solution lies in stepping away from the screen to find the human who is listening. What the data shows, the platform that works. If we look for the outlier, the place where the focus shifts from broadcasting to whispering, the data points us to Snapchat. It is the only platform where the very nature of the tool ephemeral, disappearing messages seems to actively encourage a different kind of utility. According to Pew Research, just under half of teen Snapchat users, specifically 44%, report that the platform helps their friendships. This number is notably higher than the reported utility for Instagram or TikTok. Why does this matter? Because it suggests that when the pressure to curate a perfect image is removed, when a message can vanish before it is judged or screenshot, something fundamental changes. The anxiety of the public square gives way to the quiet competence of a private lane. It is not about having the most followers, it is about having the one person who knows you at 2000 AM, who can send a voice note that disappears, and who listens without the audience of the world watching. This is the real support we are looking for. It is not found in the algorithm that demands we perform our lives for strangers. It is found in the digital equivalent of a closed door, a space where vulnerability is not a risk, but the point of the connection. So, how do we access this? We have to be willing to step off the main stage. We have to be brave enough to share the messy, unpolished parts of ourselves with the one or two people who matter most, and trust that they can hold that space without broadcasting it back out into the noise. The platform that works is the one that lets us be human, not a highlight reel. And that starts with choosing the private whisper over the public shout. The path forward isn't about fixing ourselves to fit the algorithm. It's about reclaiming the quiet confidence that existed before the feed. It means shifting our energy from broadcasting to belonging. When we curate a life for strangers, we spend our most precious resource, our attention, on people who cannot reciprocate it. The healing move is to redirect that attention inward, then toward the specific, trusted humans in our circle who actually know us. Start small. Today, do one thing that feels private. Share a thought with a friend that you would never post online, or simply sit with someone without a phone in hand. This isn't anti-technology, it is pro-humanity. It is recognizing that the deepest connection happens in the spaces where we are not performing. For men, this might mean lowering the guard and admitting uncertainty without fear of judgment. For women, it might mean silencing the inner critic that feels the need to validate every move. Both sides win when we stop trying to be interesting to everyone and start being real with a few. The goal is to build a sanctuary of trust where the messy, unedited parts of us are safe. In that sanctuary, we find the relief of being held, not viewed. We discovered that our worth was never tied to a like count, but to the simple, profound act of showing up for one another. By choosing the private whisper over the public shout, we don't just survive the noise, we find our way back to each other, whole and unburdened. We are not broken. We are just tired of performing and desperate to be known. The exhaustion comes not from the noise itself, but from the constant demand to curate our lives, to measure our worth in likes, views, and replies. It is a heavy burden to carry every single day, trying to be everything to everyone, while the person right next to you might just need you to be real. The way forward is simple, yet it requires a quiet courage to put the phone down and look up. It means choosing the private whisper over the public shout. It means valuing the messy, unfiltered conversation with a friend over the polished post for the world. When we do this, we stop performing for an audience and start connecting with the soul. This shift heals the isolation that so many of us feel. It tells us that we are enough, exactly as we are, without the filter. It restores the belief that being held is more powerful than being viewed. We discover that our worth was never tied to a number, but to the simple, profound act of showing up for one another. By choosing this path, we don't just survive the noise, we find our way back to each other, whole and unburdened. The connection we seek is waiting just beyond the screen, ready to be met with an open heart. This episode was written by a human and generated with AI assistance. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and please tell a friend. If you have a positive comment, please post it. We would love to read them and see if we are helping anyone. And if you have positive feedback, we would like to hear that as well. Thank you, everyone. God bless. See you in the next one.